All right, folks, we are back here on WLTH 1370M. That's 92.7 in the FM dial if you're nasty. And this is the last show before Thanksgiving. I won't be here next week. I don't think anybody else will be here on Thursday or Friday either. So that's why I said I wanted this show to be about positivity, about the good that's going on in the world. And so what better time to have our reoccurring segment, Good News.
There is a light for the blind man, a sound for deaf ears. This riches for forgotten souls that have nothing left to give. There is freedom from bondage for those who can't break free. This is the gospel of Jesus, and it's good news. Let us remember we have good news. We won't hide it in the shadows. We will light up the truth. Tell everybody what he's done for you. Shout it from the rooftops. We got good news. Hey!
Yes, good news here in the city of Gary, Indiana, the greatest city in all the world, as I tell you every week. We have another boy genius amongst us. Yes, we do. We have another boy genius. You know, I think it was last year I covered the story of Kyan Jumbe, who was graduating from college while still at 21st Century Academy right next door here, charter school, 21st Century Charter School. And turns out he has a little friend with him. Yes, this is the story of Mr. Abram Lewis from right here in Gary, Indiana. Let's hear what he has to say about his success.
Indiana high school seniors were celebrated for major academic accomplishments, earning their bachelor's degrees before graduating from high school.
My name is Abram Lewis. I am 18 years old, and last May I graduated with a bachelor's degree of psychology while I graduated high school, and now I'm on track for med school.
More than anything, the stories that we tell about education need to be centered on the student, the young person, and we do ourselves an injustice when we don't tell the stories from their perspective, because after all of education is about young people. And we met some amazing young people in this city, and we think you need to know about them because this can happen anywhere. No matter how great the educators may be, none of it matters if students don't seize the opportunity and max their potential. And that's why students like Abram Lewis are at the center of Schools That Can.
Abram was a class leader in kindergarten. Really.
He was valedictorian. He did his little speech and everything.
Going to Purdue, I chose psychology as a major. My goal is to become a registered neurologist.
And that's why, we chose 21st Century.
I think this is a wonderful opportunity that 21st Century has for the students that are ready or interested in going at their own pace.
Timeline-wise, it should take around 7 years in total.
You would be how old then?
I would be 24, I believe.
So you'd be a 24-year-old doctor. If you ask Abram, he'll tell you that his success comes at least in part from coming from a learning environment that believed in his greatness and provided the opportunities for him to excel.
We had a very strong support group at the school, which helped us get closer to our professors and the deans of the college. So if we had a problem at the college, we could go both to 21st Century and the college and get the help that we needed.
So much talent and maturity and kindness. These are some of the things that really stand out when it comes to Abram Lewis. But what I think makes Abram's story really special is that he's not alone. Every year, kids at 21st Century Charter Schools are defying the odds and getting a debt-free head start to college. And it's all because a community is rallying around schools that can.
Yes, the community is railing around schools that can. And we are railing around people who can as well here in the city of Gary. As I talked about last year when we covered his friend Kaya, this is what we produce here in the city of Gary, Indiana. You know, and I'm glad Miss T.J. Chester talked about it during her interview. There is such a pessimism that comes from us and such a low self-esteem from so many of us who live in this city about our city, about the young people in our city, about our community, about our place in history. We produced the greatest entertainer who ever lived in this city. We produced Oscar winners, Super Bowl champions, Olympic champions. We produced geniuses, people who are on the moon, astronauts here in this city. And in this region, Northwest Indiana has produced some of the great people ever in this country, in this world. I follow one of the most famous economists in the world. Right here in Gary. One of the greatest boxing champions, one of the longest reigning champions in the history of boxing. The man of steel, Tony Zale, right here in Gary, Indiana. Brilliant academics, brilliant musicians, brilliant athletes, brilliant actors and actresses. So many brilliant people have come, not just from this city, but from this region. In my opinion, the greatest basketball coach of the last 50, 60 years, Greg Popovich, right there in East Chicago and in Maryville. Right there. Hall of Fame, right there. Only 2 players ever in the history of sports to play in a World Series and an NCAA Final Four. Kenny Lofton, Tim Stoddard, both from EC, Washington. Only 2 people in history. NBA Hall of Famers like Barnett. Guys who won NBA championships. Brilliant people in every single facet. We produce geniuses here. But all we want to talk about is the negative. And we got to get out of that habit of just looking at the downside of what's happening in Northwest Indiana. We got to talk about the positive as well. All these great people. That's one of the reasons I love doing the Happy Happy segment and the musical spotlight segment is to shine a light on our culture and history in this country, because so many of us, especially, I don't want to just say it, but let's just be real, so many of us black people, we forget our history. We forget what we've accomplished in every field, every facet in this country. And in this region. And it's important that we remember that so that we can produce more Abram Lewises. And we can hand them the keys and say, you come from greatness. You're standing on the shoulders of giants. And so let me get this caller. Hello, caller. What's up? This is good news.
Yes, God, listen. You did a good segment. Listen. Now, this, I think you one of the premier engineers that's down there, along with Leonard and the other engineers that really are the backbone of that station there.
Let's do what we do.
But listen, this is what I want to say. I can't really name drop, because, I was like put on the rack about persons in my family, they're all, athletes, and, a few of them, did get a break as far as being, in the movie industry.
Wow.
But, this is what it is right here. Back in the day, you could pull up on the couch out there, in Cali, man, and you could bunk down, and people would give you, a room or,
Again, high school seniors were celebrated for major academic accomplishments, earning their bachelor.
Hello?
My bad.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, brother. I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah. See, you could pull up on the couch out there then, food was cheap and, housing was a little bit cheaper, man. So now we're in a world of chaos, man. We had Ernest, I'm thinking that guy Thomas that was
yes,
from
Raj.
What's Happening. We had him come from here. That was a much different time, when they went out there, we had actresses from, the region here, Iowa and Indiana and Illinois, we had different people that would go up there in Cali and just all over and really make it, Now, you yourself, you could have, extended your craft too, because you're artistic gifted, because you went to our school of Juilliard, over there on the east side, man, and
Tornadoes.
That. I'm proud of you going to Emerson like that, man. And you taking your craft and putting it at another, level right there, and then just destroy it. Just take it and just say, well, hey, I'm gonna go somewhere else other than honing your craft, and you did a good job, man. But these things now is in such a chaotic state, man. People now, they don't operate out of fear, they operate out of, finances, So, like I said, it's hard to pull up on the couch now and somebody, give you a roof until you make it, My people, they had it hard. They went out there, they was athletes, and, they went to the combine, and a lot of them, man, they made it. I got like 3 people in my family that, that made it in different segments. They got on me the last time, I can't name drop. They told me, hey, I had to get their permission to do that, because like I say, when I act a butthole, I reflect on the family, So, hey, man, I think you do a great job. You always have a great
thank you, brother. Thank you so much. Thank you for your call.
And the segment you did, man, hey, man, I'm proud of you, man. I'm thinking everybody else is, too.
Oh, thank you so much, brother. It's always good to hear from you. Thank you so much. Yeah, we do have a lot of people. I forgot about Raj, my fellow Emersonian. Forgot about Ernest Thomas. Yes, he's another one of the people who from here in Gary who made a big imprint in this world. But we're not done with the good news. We got some other good news here in the city of Gary. Last week, there was an alert sent out on during last week for Rashantiera, I think it's Rashantiera Kelly, who actually went missing out in my neighborhood, Miller, who was last seen on Hemlock Avenue in Miller last week, and she's actually been found. She was found alive. She's been reported missing and hospitalized in the ICU, but she's receiving treatment and she is alive. And so it is important to celebrate those type of victories. I wish Rashantiera all the best in her recovery. Thank God that she will be able to go home to her family. But as we go into the Thanksgiving holiday, I want you to also think about the people who are not with their families currently. We talked about these stories a lot last year when they first happened. But there's a feeling that I feel like people have sort of forgotten that Janiyah McMichael is still missing. Her and Emma Baum. They are both still missing. They are both still not at home with their families. And really, I really want everybody to not just pray, but to also if they can look at right now, just switch the screen to the pictures of the missing young women. If you have seen these women, if you've seen Janiah McMichael, who's 14, who was 14 last year, she'd be 15 now. Please, if you know where she is, if you know who has her, if you know if she's, been moved somewhere, please let us know. It's been exactly a year since she disappeared. She's been missing since August 12th of last year from her home near 19th and Virginia Street in Gary, Indiana. And, she was last seen wearing a black hoodie, black pajama pants, and red and black shoes. Her grandmother, Dahlia Guerrero, has not stopped looking. And that's important. Having faith is important. Her grandmother still has faith that she will find her. And, all of our thoughts and prayers are with her and Janiah's family on this Thanksgiving. She's still distributing missing posters and believes that someone knows what happened to her. She is asking, and because she is asking, I am asking, we are all asking, if you know what happened to Janiah, please come forward. We're in the holiday season. Thanksgiving is next week. Christmas will be next month. Please, don't make these people, the McMichael family, the Guerrero family, Emma Baum's family, have to spend another year, another holiday season without knowing where their loved ones are. Emma Baum was 9 months pregnant when she disappeared here in Gary. She was 25, and her family's still looking for her as well. And so it's important to keep an eye open for any of these people who are missing. Thank God Rashawn Tierra got back to her family. Hopefully somebody can watch this and bring Janiah and Emma back to their family. We'll be right back after this here on Straight Out of the Cannon.